I've already went in and designed the card, but I'm going to show you how I came up with this to look similar to this, using all free images from Cricut Design Space. So we're going to move them out of the way a little bit. First, we're going to start with the card base. This is the inside of the card, starting with a square. Let's change the card base to white. Then we're going to change the size to unlock. And we're going to make this 8.5 by 5.5. We're going to take that same card base and put it in the corner. So to get this card base in the exact corner, you would just go to the position and hit 0, 0. And it would literally put the card right in the corner. Now I'm going to drop in a score line. As this score line is still highlighted, I'm going to go up and I'm going to position the score line at 4 1/4. Oh, sorry, wrong place. On my position X, 4 1/4 by 0. And that's going to put the score line right here in the center. And up in the corner. Now I'm going to make this the same height as the card base by unlocking the portion and putting my height at 5.5. And there we go. Now we're going to take the score mark, hold down my command key, hit the card base, and attach. What attach does is takes the score line and the card base, attaches them together so that when we're ready to cut, the Cricut is going to score down the center and then cut around the card base. If we did not attach them, the score line would be on a separate mat and score completely off of the card base. Now in order to get this fold in here, that's pretty simple. We go over to the shapes again and we're going to drop down a triangle. We're going to take that triangle and we're going to flip it. Once it's flipped to the side, to the direction that we want it to be, we're going to center it the best we can. Although before that we probably should size it the way we want it. And this triangle should be 3.5 inches wide. I mean, that's almost 3.5. And 3 inches high. Now we're going to make sure we get it as centered as we can. We're going to go up in our layers panel and see that this particular triangle is a cut image. Now before we used to be able to click right here and change it to a score, but now we have to go up to our top panel up here and change it down to a score from up here. Once it's changed to a score, still highlight it, we're going to click on our command key on the computer and our card base and attach. So now when this goes to the Cricut, it's going to score here, 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 and then down the center on our card base, and then it's going to cut around the edges. Now we need to make the card front panel next. However, I do have to let you know that I need to make this center card base a little bit smaller than what I originally made it, because that really should have been, well, let's unlock it, 8 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okay. The reason why I started out with 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, it's just easier for me to do the math of where I need this triangle to be and where I need my center score mark to be. It's just easier to have an even number, like 8 1/2 or 8, rather than 8 1/4, and then try to divide that in half. It's just easier for me to start out with a higher number. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to drag it out of the way. So now we're going to work on this part of the card. And here we want to drop in a square. This square, let me just ungroup this for a second. And ungroup that for a second. Here we have the square. Here are our butterflies. Them. This square measures 4 by 5 1/2. So we're going to make this one a 4 by 5 1/2. And here we can make it whatever color we want. You can use a pattern paper. It doesn't matter what paper you use, but you want it to make sure that it is two-sided. This section in here is going to fold over, and this section here is going to fold over. So you're going to see both sides of the paper. So you either want a pattern paper that is patterned on both sides, patterned on one side and solid on the other, or a solid paper that's solid on both sides, preferably 2 different colors. Now what I like to do is I like to take a score mark, drop it in. I'm going to flip it. And bring it over on my card base. So here I want it to be center of my card base. Why is that the wrong size? 4 1/4. Oh, 4 1/4. 5 1/4. That's the right size. Alright. Just going to line it up here. Although I could put it in the corner like I did before. Just going to line it up right here. Now we want this score mark to be half the size of the page. So if our page is 4 inches wide, our score mark should be 2 inches wide. So unlock, and we're going to put this down the bottom of the card. Make a duplicate of it and put it at the top of the card. And we're going to take the top one and we're going to change it up here to a cut. And move my pink one out of the way. So now we have a cut line and we have a score line. So we need to make sure that the cut line is all the way up at the top. Okay, and then the score line's down the bottom. Group them all and attach. What that is going to do when it goes to the Cricut, it's going to send it to the Cricut. It's first going to put a score line in, and then it's going to cut here and then cut all the way around the card base. Okay, so that's our card panel. You could do 2 different ways, or 3 different ways actually. You could take your card base, and again, this is the same size as the one we were just working on. That is 4 by 5 1/4. And we want to change this to white. We can cut a card base with scissors and our trimmer. We can have the Cricut cut a card base. We can have the Cricut cut the word hello. We can pop it out on here. We can have the Cricut write the word hello or any other word that you want to use. Or we could do what I did here, and I actually wrote the word hello and I flattened it to the card panel, and I'm going to have my printer print it and then my Cricut cut it. So it would be a print and cut. How I did that is I went into my text and I wrote the word hello. I went up to the font. Here's where I want to use something I already own, or I want to use something that is free. I do not want to have to pay for anything additional. So I could choose something from my system fonts or the Cricut fonts, filtering it out with writing, filter out with my fonts. Then it's going to only show what is mine, what I own. This is not the one I used, but I just wanted to show you this type of font because this is one that is really good for to use to have your Cricut actually write on it. So what it does is the Cricut, once you put a pen in there, will write the word hello, just like that. Next, we're going to recreate these butterflies. Let's ungroup this. Okay. I'm going to take. Now, what I did to create these butterflies is, again, I'm just going to delete one of these. We don't need them all up here. I went in and I dropped down an image again, keying in the word butterfly, which I already have up here because this is what I worked on last. I went over to the filter and I clicked on the word free. So all my free images came up. If you already have uploaded a butterfly, you can go in here and write what you uploaded, or butterflies you may already own. You can click that. If you are a Cricut Access member, you can click on the A, Cricut Access member, and it will also show all the butterflies that are in Cricut Access. But for today, I'm just going to do free. And I'm going to choose this butterfly and this butterfly and insert them. Took this butterfly here, excuse me, and I ungrouped them. Kept the top layer, took the bottom layer and made him smaller. Now I took this butterfly, ungrouped the unlock, made him smaller, and then I kind of put him on a tilt, and then I made him smaller again just to give him a little bit of that distorted look. Okay. And you could stretch him any way you want. It really doesn't matter how you make your butterfly. Then I took this butterfly, although I probably duplicated this one again. That's what it looks like I did. But let's just take this butterfly. We're going to ungroup him. Take the top layer, delete the bottom layer. Then here's where I would make a smaller butterfly for up in the corner here. So there's my smaller one. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to recreate this one that looks like it's sideways. And how I'm going to do that, I'm going to make my screen a little bit bigger so we can see what I'm doing. I'm going to drop in a circle. Bring down this circle. I'm going to unlock it and make it an oval, kind of an oval shape. I'm going to try to take off the majority of this wing without cutting out his antenna or anything like that. Now what? So just maneuver it around till it looks good to you. Now take the butterfly and the oval, And then here we have our different shaped butterfly. So if you look in the original, a butterfly that goes in a different direction. So I was trying to create that, but there wasn't a free one, so I made my own. So that is how I made those two. Now what I did is I took him, sized him to where I wanted him to be. So that is roughly 1 3/4 by almost 2 inches of a butterfly here. And then this, sorry, this butterfly is almost 2 by 1 3/4, and put them together, take both of them and weld them. Then you're going to change it to whatever color you want it to be, and there you have your inside butterfly for the inside of the card. Sorry, I don't know why I keep hitting the wrong thing on my. There's our inside butterflies. This one, something I want to show you, I want to point out. I'm actually going to delete these two. When you have this section here and you go to try and change the color, you're not going to be able to, and the reason is it's because it's grouped together with 2 images or more. Again, there's that score mark, so we want to detach, get rid of the score mark, then we're able to hit the butterfly and change the color. And then we're going to just duplicate 2 more times. There we have the butterflies for the outside. Okay? Make sure that you save your project after you're done creating it. I'm going to just delete these things I just recreated because I already have this whole thing saved. Okay, the last thing that I want to show you is how to do the inside wording of your card. So you can take your base card and handwrite something in there, but if you want your Cricut to write it, we're going to do exactly the same thing that I had showed you before, where you're just going to go to your text, you're going to write what you want to do, make sure that you group your sections together and attach them so the Cricut will write these words directly onto your card base. Okay. All right, so let's go and make sure we have all our parts. This is going to be our front panel. This is going to be the panel that hides under here. Here we have the center of the card. The Cricut is going to write and score everything for us. Then we're going to take these 2 butterflies and we're going to glue them somewhere right here on the card, and then this butterfly can go somewhere here. And I think that's the card that I'm going to make today.